also the other way around, because we have many startups that came here to follow the program that come from different countries and Anglophone countries, and that developed business here in Senegal, created relations with institutions, with in different types of themes and subjects. I'm thinking about I don't have the name of the startup that is in education startup, which e-campus that create real relations with the Senegalese government. So it's in both ways, which is very interesting. It's the idea of the program to have this reciprocity.
And we have, actually realize there's probably another microphone, but what we've seen now is exactly as Adrian is sharing, that Senegal has now joined the map. So in 2021, the first year that we were here, it was the fifth. They rank the countries in Africa based on how much venture capital goes into the country. And for the first time ever, Senegal was in the top 10, made it all the way to the top 5. And so it put Senegal on the map to say there is now world-class accelerator programs here. There's world-class investors that are coming here. There's world-class startups that are here. Senegal there's something happening. And ever since then, each year it's been building more and more. Last year, the demo day we had Africa, we did it in conjunction with Africa Arena. So like it just keeps getting bigger and better. And from here, there's only more exciting things happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's all, folks. Thank you.
Okay, so Henry, I think that we're ready to go.
We're back. Thank you, Adrian. And we're gonna have to make it with one screen, but I think it's big enough for us all. So before we go back to the source, as I told you guys earlier, I want to quickly walk us through. So earlier I told you how the journey for these founders has been excruciating. 3 months of I want to say painless, but I know it's not painless, and exhausting work, right? But before that, what actually happened? And that's the journey that I want to walk us through today, right now. And I want you to understand how this is also connected to our process, right? So this 10 startups you see here came from a pool of close to 2,000, specifically 1,805 applications. And it was filtered down to about 600, then further down to about 300, further down to about 50, then 20, and 10, right? And of course, Nigeria typically gives us a lot of applications, but most importantly, you'd see that Senegal, from ASIP cohort 1, Senegal has consistently been in the top 10 for us. You'd see a few countries like Cameroon and Tanzania, who, even though don't give us a lot of numbers, end up giving us really high quality numbers. And of course, the regulars, Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria. Now, North Africa is interesting. So it looks like the North Africans come together, have a meeting and say, well, this year, it's the turn of Egypt. And next year, it will be the turn of Morocco, because every year, one North African country makes it to a top 4 or top 5. And this year, it was actually Egypt that made it to a top, okay, Tunisia was in the top 3, see what I said? Tunisia was in the top 3, and Egypt was in the top 10, actually top 4. But yes, so this is a breakdown of the applications we got. We noticed that a lot of the founders that also applied, there's an increase in application of AI in either the product, or some parts of the product, or some part of the process towards the solution that the startups are delivering, which is good. It gives us hope and confidence that, of course, African innovators are actually getting into the AI game. And as you can see, the startup stage accounts for the bulk of our applications. We tend to take in startups, we're very much open to taking in startups that are pre-revenue. Of course, at every time at the end of the program, our startups become post-revenue. But in this case, you'd see that there is actually a very high number of growth stage startups who applied. And quite a number of them, as you'd see, are actually quite evolved and quite mature with really consistent revenues already coming in. And you're going to hear their stories, you're going to hear the amazing work they've done before now, and of course the next level work that they've been able to do over the course of the program. Now, I want to take us back a bit to the work that we have done as a company. Okay, I think my clicker seems to... Okay. So I pressed it quite a number of times, and then once it responded, it moved. There. Okay, so this is what I want to show us, right? Startup Bootcamp started our very first corporate-backed program in 2017 with the very first fund. And that fund, we accelerated 29 startups, right? Today, this is the status. It's 3% is still operating and thriving. We've raised more than $100 million for these founders. And the value actually is already above $650 million. And there are due diligence process involved with 2 of our startups, which we think if it closes out, it will surpass $1 billion. So that's the first fund. The second fund, which is ASIP, now this is cohort 4 of ASIP, right? So cohort 1, 2, 3, this is a quick scorecard, right? We've accelerated 31 startups, 100% of course still operational. And now we've been able to help them, 40% of them secure POCs and pilots that led to commercial contracts. We have about 60% of them active here in Senegal, and we've been able to help them secure government collaborations in their primary markets, 31% of the founders. Now, this is extremely important because a lot of this speaks to metrics that are important to us, right? We believe that the ultimate source of funding for a startup is actually revenue, not equity, not raising funding. Of course, that has its place, but it's probably the most expensive form of funding. So your revenue is the cheapest and the best quality funding you can get, and that is usually a key metric for us. And a lot of our routes, the key central focus of our route to that is POCs and of course pilots. Now, you may be wondering, how about this cohort? How have they performed? Of course, you're going to hear from them soon, but just a quick snapshot. Now, between the third cohort and the fourth cohort, a few interesting things happened. One, we became committed to the pledge to actually close the gender gap in this ecosystem, right? Became a signatory to that, and of course, it's always been a key focus for us. But now that there's been an overt commitment